welcome to the daily English news program on Azerbaycan Television. With your host, Deli Hüseyinli, with most important events of the day. On January 28th, President İlham viewed conditions at the newly reconstructed secondary school number 90 in Sabuncu district and the secondary school number 97 in Surkhani district, Baku.
President İlham first viewed conditions created at the secondary school number 90 in Ramana settlement, Sabuncu district. A new 960-seat education block was built instead of the demolished two blocks which were constructed in 1939 and 2002. There were classrooms supplied with the state-of-the-art equipment, including computer, military, music rooms, chemistry and physics labs, a library and a gym at the school. A new 288-seat education block and a sports hall built in 2006 were overhauled. President İlham then viewed conditions created at the secondary school number 97 in Emircan settlement, Surkhani district. Two blocks of the school built in 1937 and 1970 were demolished. 264-seat modern block, canteen, gym and conference hall were constructed instead of them. At the same time, a 264-seat block built in 2007, intended for primary grades, was overhauled. All the classrooms and labs in the new block were supplied with necessary equipment.
The report we are going to present now is about Russian Orthodox Church in Khojaman district, liberated from the occupation. This monument was also razed to the ground by the Armenians. The chief priest of Ganja Church, Denis Sotnikov, going out to the territory, called the destruction of the temple and what he saw barbarism.
"127 years. It means more than a century. It is not a big figure for a million-year history of the world. But if we take into account that places of worship are a moral necessity for people, then this building is an old and ancient building in terms of human life. This church is just one of the 1,000 monuments razed to the ground and destroyed with the occupation of Khojaman in 1992. It is situated in an area called Gızılgaya, Golden Rock, 12 kilometers away from the center of Khojaman. The gold of this rock is in its historical significance and quite interesting and extraordinary structure as a sample of architecture. The moral weight of the church as a place of worship and historical architectural venue is heavier than those of the stones. Maybe this heaviness fell on the heads of our neighbors who justified the invasion, who nurtured this feeling of hatred towards us for many years, who, having believed in their own dream, accepted the myth as a reality. The result was not just a sad fate and the deaths of thousands of people, the lifetime memory of people burned away. Actually, it is very easy to differentiate the architectural style of Armenian churches from those of the Georgians and Russian Orthodox churches. The main element of design for the Armenian temples are the domes in the shape of the cones. Maybe the Armenians who could not relate to this historical monument, who could not establish a moral bond with the house of worship, destroyed the place, because the concept of God is as big as not to be confined into the cones. What we see that to have face, to place value, to protect, is as much as alien to the character of this people as Khojaman is. It is hard to comprehend these destructions when watching the footages. We Azerbaijanis cannot accept, comprehend and justify this destructive and envious soul, simply because we're not like that. Destructing and usurpation is neither in our morality nor in our genes. The church belongs to the period when the first Sunha Vladikavkaz regiment was in the service of the Terek Cossack army. The church, built in the shape of a cross, was famous for its bell towers. The total capacity of the building at that time was designed for the simultaneous worship of 80 to 100 people. For centuries, temples belonging to other religions like houses of worship and historical monuments were protected by the Azerbaijani people at the highest level. We were proud of this. We are proud to guard the Armenian church in the very center of Baku. This tolerance is the basis for the coexistence of peoples, which we intend to transfer to the territories liberated from the occupation. Azerbaijan will take churches under its patronage and preserve them as a monument of history, culture, architecture, and present them to the world as an example of Azerbaijan's tolerance. Religions enlighten souls. People pray, offer prayers in the name of peace. However, in all world religions, there is such a philosophy as to restrain ambitions, punish for sins, and find reward in good. maybe weak policy, maybe historical necessity, but still it was the punishment for this vandalism that became Armenia's defeat. Azerbaijan is not a country from the maybe category. Fight for truce, search for justice, correct policy, strategy, unity, strengths. But most of all, we want thanks to the face of our hearts. It doesn't matter what language we speak or what religion we belong to. It's a miracle that we're in Khojavand. It happened because we protect God, His temples, His people, and everything He created.
The Defense Ministry released video footage from Alibeyli village of Kəlbəcər district. The village is situated on the rural administrative territory of Əsrik in Kəlbəcər district. Before 1937, the village was called Bəylik, but was renamed to Tirkəşəvənd after repressions in 1937. Once ancient settlements were located on its territory. According to some sources, first settlers of the land arrived from Laçin district in 16th to 17th century. On May 29, 2015, the village of Tirkəşəvənd, located in the rural administrative territory district of Əsrik, was renamed to Alibeyli. These places are famous for the pastures and springs. TRT Haber TV channel aired a special report regarding Azerbaijan. Video materials prepared on the basis of statements of the aide to the President of Azerbaijan, head of the Foreign Policy Department of the Presidential Administration, Hikmet Hacıyev, discuss Azerbaijan's glorious victory in the 44-day war and the subsequent processes. The report extensively informs the Turkish-speaking audience about fraternal Azerbaijani-Turkish relations, Turkey's place and role in the protection of peace in the region, military parade held in Baku, future outcomes of Armenia's aggression towards the state and nation, as well as decisions adopted and works underway in the direction of rebuilding Şuşa city.
Şimdi aktif katılım sağlamasının şart olduğunu belirtti. Şehirlerinden biri yapacağız dedi. İlk iş olarak kente özel temsilci atadı. Sistemli bir mekanizma kurulmasının gerekliliğine dikkati çekti.
209 infections with the novel coronavirus were registered in Azerbaijan. 437 people recovered after treatment and were released home. 8 people who earlier tested positive for COVID-19 died. The overall confirmed cases in Azerbaijan have reached 229,793, with 222,154 recoveries and 3,113 deaths. Number of active infections is 4,526. To detect new infection cases over the past day, 7,060 tests and overall 2,337,134 tests have been conducted in Azerbaijan, the task force under the Cabinet of Ministers reported. That was all for the day. Thank you for being with us and see you next time.